I'm Rosalind from ELF. This is going to be a video for ELF coordinators, and this is the box that you will be using, which is your ELF resource box. When you open your box, the first thing you'll see is a folder that has all the paperwork for your unit. It's going to start off, you can look at the outline, and the outline will have on the first page, it will show the introduction, some opening questions that you can give to the class, and some information on the puppet show. So that's the main thing that you'll need as a coordinator to start out. You have to get the class going when you first start out. And then it goes through each of the centers. There's usually about one page for each of the centers that you can glimpse through if you like. That'd probably be helpful. And then at the end, you have your closing segment, which will also give you some ideas on how you can close out your unit. Usually, we allocate about 10 to 15 minutes before and after ELF so that you can do the opening and closing. Also in this binder, you have these seed. So this is for seed dispersal. This is the puppet show, and each of these pages shows you the different roles in the puppet show that are highlighted. So when you get to school and you're distributing this to the puppeteers, then you can just give them one of these sheets, and then they will have their lines highlighted. For background, there's also an introduction in here, and this will tell you, for example, what does adaptation mean? And it takes you through some information that you could read just as background before you go. If you have time, this is a nice thing to read. And also, this has a background on seed dispersal if you want to just skim through that as well. When you get to the box, you'll have these. These are your props for each of the puppets. So when you hand out your script to each of the volunteers, you'll give them the actual prop that they'll be using. And the puppet show will also be in your classroom, or you'll be bringing the puppet show to your classroom. So the actual stage you will have there, and then they will sit behind the stage with these props. The next item in here are some books, Seed to Plant, How Seeds Travel, and if any of the centers run out of time or have extra time at the end of their learning, then you can give them a book and they can read it with the students if needed. Going back to your outline, it also talks about, if you flip through here, it'll tell you what each of the centers do. The first center, Center 1, is an indoor center because you're going to be observing seeds and you don't want them blowing around outside. So we advise to do that inside. The second center will have Seeking Seeds, which is an outdoor scavenger hunt. Center 2, we strongly advise that you do outdoors in the Kyffin garden. The garden is located on the north side of the school next to the playground for the younger students. Once you get to the garden, then they'll be able to look for seeds out there. Center 3, which is seed races, this is an experiment center. You can do this outdoors in the learning center, the learning space, which is next to the garden on the north side of the building. It's right outside of Mrs. Archie's classroom on the corner of the building. The Center 4 is See Inside a Seed. We recommend doing this indoors because you're going to be watching how seeds grow and you're going to be using magnifying glasses. So we just want to make sure those aren't getting dropped or broken outdoors. It's just easier to do inside. Center number 5 is a craft, seed snacks and stories. This involves paint, construction paper. This would also be a good indoor center. And then at the end of this is the closing segment. And this is the second area where you as a coordinator will be involved to go through the closing segment. So you can get up and during the closing segment, each of the centers will do their cleanup. They'll put all their things back into the boxes and leave them outside the classroom, or even take it back to the storage room. And the coordinator will still be inside talking through the closing segment with the children. And under the options, it'll give you some ideas such as a sharing circle. You can have all the students sit around and go around each of the students saying, one thing that I learned about seeds today was, and then they can explain that to you. This closing segment also shows you some books that are the books that we just went through that are available in here. And then at the end, you'll have also a couple of background pieces of information, such as seed dispersal, background, and an introduction set here that you can read through before ELF, just to give you a bit of a background if you have time. There'll also be timers in the box that you'll use. So you generally, for the opening and closing, you'll do about 10 minutes each. And then for each of the centers, you'll do about 15 minutes. So you can yourself, or you can have one of the students to set a timer for those 15 minutes, and then it should ring at the end. If any of the centers run out of material or are running low on material, we'll ask that each of the volunteers let the coordinator know so that you can replenish whatever needs to be put in there, especially for the crafts. We don't want to run out of materials for the next ELF that's coming after you, so we want to make sure that everything has been put back in here. The materials should be in the ELF storage closet, and if you have any trouble finding stuff that needs to go in here, please let the coordinators know. Thank you.